Today I thought we'd take another look at this layer that's in the soil here on the edge of the river. I think it's interesting to see that the stones are all at one level, and it's really interesting to see them kind of in their natural space where they were left. So, as you guys know, on the channel here at Faces in the Stone, we don't dig for artifacts. We only surface gather. And this embankment here is pretty low, where all the older, more complicated artifacts are. But here, in this section, we have small hand tools and smaller effigies that we can kind of perhaps take a look at. So I'm going to be kind of careful doing this because there's a lot of pottery still left. As you guys can see, it's very soft because it's full of water right now. And let's go ahead and just take a look at a few of these here, because oftentimes the ancient paint is still on them, the clay coverings. Looks like we do have some weather coming up, as you guys can see in here around me. These painted stones are very important for the research, showing the paint that is left after they come out. All these crystals and blades that are put in here. You can see how this kind of looks like a cement type of material. It's a burnt ash, charcoal. And it wouldn't really surprise me if all of this was carved into the images of certain things. It really wouldn't surprise me at all. See what looks like the remnants of a big piece of wood. See the circle here? You can notice quickly on this level how all these stones are the same type. And the layers that are put on here season after season. So of course we have more modern, and the deeper we get, the older we get, to the point where we find these paleo tools. Looking for some that are just kind of sticking out of the ground here. We can take a look at this crystal. It is kind of fired in here. As you can see, this is almost baked into a rock. So it is clay, so it's kind of like a pottery. This is one that we just pulled off the wall, the first one that we pulled off here. It's not as easy to pull these out from the wall as I thought it would be. They're actually cemented in. If you look closely on the bottom here, you can start to see the resemblance or remnants of tiny little shards of pottery. That's what all that is. It's just little, you can see all the clay underneath it, all the little white specks. That's all crushed up pottery. So there was a bit of an activity here. We can see all the stone layers. And we see a whole lot of nothing. And we see more. Very interesting. It's almost as if there was a flood. All right, guys, I'm getting super tired. Doing a lot of research out here, as you guys know. And gonna do some more lab work here in a bit, but it's just taking as much time as I can out here with you guys as I am able to. Let's kind of take a look at this one just about to fall out. So this is the gateway example. It's going to have a black side to it. It's literally like a sword in a stone. You can see these. Perhaps you can see these blades here. I'm going to grab that for you so you can take a better look at it. This gateway is here. They're cemented in. Okay, so I want you to take a close look at the color that's inside of that. Look at the color that's on this. This hardened clay spike still sticking out of it. Maybe part of the effigy, if you look at it in certain ways. It's a handle for the effigy made of clay. And what you do, you break this off. As you break it apart, more images and things will come out. But this piece of pottery, or piece of crystal rather, was encased in what is essentially pottery. Take a look at the birds. They're painted on this stone. We'll try to get some of the stuff off the other side, but it's not going to be easy because it's fired on. So of course we have the sharp beak sticking out. You see how it's like a needle. Here we have a larger bird with a recessed beak. Looking at the black markings. So because this one has this fired coating on it, it's going to be a little tough to clean it off and everything, but I'm going to try. There we go. It's starting to chip off now. It's important to look at the clay coating though, because it was maybe at that day, their interpretation of what this effigy meant. You can see how I'm digging out portions of eyes inside of here. There's all the little gemstones that you see attached to it in the clay casing. So you can see how all these little garnets and gemstones are actually designing this birdstone. It has this beautiful bird on the top of it, and likely a human. And the gemstones that are inside of this clay coating are going to produce some of the images that the family wanted to express to you on this day. So I don't really want to wash it off too much more, to be honest. I think it's really beautiful with the gemstones on it. So I'm just try to wash off some more of the dirt. Show you some of those gemstones that are put on here. Yeah, folks, I'm a little tired, but we're gonna keep going for a little bit longer here. We have some more work to do, but we're getting there. It's a very neat one. Let's see how much of this is clay. Tons of it is. You guys can see this hard clay coating that's on this. It's fired on. It's baked on with other smaller gems inside of it. I'll give you a quick look at the consistency of the area that we pulled it out of, and let's go ahead and pull out a few more. So, just looking at the stuff around it, you can see what's going on here. These are little burnt pieces. So this is completely carbon datable. As you know, in North America, as a private citizen, you are not able to carbon date anything without a college or institution signing the papers for you. So here it looks like we do have a pretty large burnt section that probably goes down, but you can see the layer there of the burnt section versus, I guess, what might be not burnt. Go ahead and use this effigy a little bit. Just to kind of get an idea. Well, that didn't help at all. But it gives you a little bit of an idea of what we're dealing with here. Here's some spear points with human images and portraits on them. Let's go ahead and look at it with all its color. So the little tiny bird head on top with a little itty bitty tiny beak. It's very common. All right, let's take a look at this one here. So we have this big blob. You see that big blob on this stone? That is a portion of what is meant to be there. We 100% have a squirrel girl. That's a 100% squirrel girl. No doubt. And we're gonna have, so looking in the dirt at the sand, you can actually see some of the eyes still in the clay outlined. So if you're looking at the statue as if it's looking away, you can see that marking, see the clay eye that's on there. This is great because these ancient people put this mohawk on this person and this clay eye for this moment right here at this time for me to share this with you. There are other symbols and markings on this, but there are human images all over this and images of birds as well. As we move it around and tilt it, different images will come to life. I'm curious on what's underneath this. We have a beautiful carving for an eye. Inside of that thing that we just popped out of there is probably going to be precious gems and stones. But it's a very cool one. And I feel really honored to be able to hold this and share it with you guys. But I do feel a little bit bad about pulling it out of the spot that it was just in. That bird-shaped spot, because this is where somebody placed it a very long time ago. And so, you know, they're just falling out of the creek, I know. But there's still, I mean, something to be said about, you know, just picking this stuff off after it's been here for so long, right? So I kind of have a little bit of a debate with myself sometimes about doing this. Like I said, it's not being very well taken care of right now, and I think what I'm doing is, I hope what I'm doing is okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to share it with you guys, so I'm not taking anything, but at the same time, I don't necessarily feel great about, you know, being just like every other pillager. So I try not to be that way. Although a lot of these are very exciting and beautiful, and a lot of them I want to take home and cherish. For the most part, I leave just about everything here unless I think it's going to help our cause. And even after I'm done documenting them at home, I bring them back. So there's a whole lot of them in Clayton right now, which is not too far from the site, but I guess they're pretty close. All right, well, we have some very large ones here that we can, you know, I really like to look at the big ones. So here we have a beautiful pink quartz. Has a beautiful, lovely pink color onto it, a red color. As you can see, we're going to have our first image here of the rosy face person. This is all of her hair. So we're going to have a face image, believe it or not, in this section. As we tilt the stone, you can start to see that come out a little better. You see the beautiful eye, probably closed. You tilt the stone and get it at different angles. Let's go ahead and look at it different ways here. Lots of paint on this. Of course, I don't want to bang it around too much, we know. Looks like we have some characters on here, some symbols. Looks to me like a bird man. So of course we see the eye, the beak. Maybe he's holding something. Let's take a look at that in some different ways. Perhaps we see a character this way. Of course, we're just looking at the color on the stone here. Like it is a cave painting. See these other little symbols and markings on here. Very cool. And extremely heavy. But I can see all the little profiles and portraits. This is a beautiful statue of a woman here. This is her face cut out, her eye, her nose, and her mouth. You can see how the braids or her hair wrap is coming down. This is all of her hair raining down behind her. A beautiful portrait. Here's a very large one here. This is a crystal gateway as well. Let's go ahead and give this a little bit of a wash off. And take a look at it. So this is from the same people. The same collection as this one here. So let's go ahead and get started, I guess, with this. You guys, you know, it's the same as it always is. It's birds on top of people's heads. Maybe I'll just move it around to show you, but right off the bat here, we're seeing this beautiful mammoth. This is the trunk of the mammoth. This is the eye of the mammoth. You can see the large hump, exaggerated hump, the color on this mammoth here. Beautiful face carving, and you can see how the rest of the body is there. Perhaps the mammoth is sitting. We're going to see Some hominid figures. Some large birds. X's. See the giant birds. So we look at the very ends of the stones, as they oftentimes have very great portraits on them. I see the enormous duck head. I see the bird head just on the top here. Just on the very top. The hook beak, the white, maybe a bald eagle. So if you look at it like this, and you see the bird head with the giant hole right there, then you can see how the rest of this is the body of that bird. So the bird's feet might be down here, and the body and the back of the bird is over here. Right? So, not a lot of people get to see this kind of stuff, guys. But I'm telling you, if you go into your creeks in the low areas, you're going to find this stuff too. And just because our state isn't prepared to handle it, just because our country isn't prepared to handle it, or your friends or your family aren't prepared to handle it, doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, and it's not true. So the story of humankind goes back a lot further than what makes a lot of us comfortable. And it's okay to be uncomfortable. Sometimes we have to learn to be okay with being uncomfortable. So with that, I'm going to leave you. I love you. Bye-bye.